Can you be thankful after abuse without lying to yourself? It's a question that doesn't get asked out loud very often because somewhere along the way, many of us have heard the message be grateful, look for the lesson, find the blessing in what you've been through. And if you've lived through abuse, that can feel like being asked to rewrite the truth. And on the surface, that can sound hopeful, like there's something good waiting to be found. But when you've lived through abuse, those words can land differently. They can feel confusing, even confrontational, because part of you may wonder, what exactly am I supposed to be grateful for? And another part of you might quickly push back and say, I'm not thankful for what happened, not even a little. And something else can slip in. A question you don't always say out loud. Is there something wrong with me for feeling this way? You may feel angry. You may feel numb. You may try to feel grateful and end up right back in the memories you're trying to move beyond. And if that's you, I want you to hear this clearly. There is nothing wrong with you. When I first started a gratitude practice, I believed it would help me move forward. But instead, it brought back loops of thought, or as I like to call it, stinking thinking. My mind kept going back to the past. The anger was definitely still there. The resentment still there. And I remember thinking, what am I doing wrong? So I'm going to say something that needs to be said. You do not have to be thankful for what happened to you. You don't have to find a silver lining in the harm. You don't have to reshape the truth to make it easier to carry. And you don't have to justify someone else's actions in order to feel like a good person. Sometimes we try to make meaning out of what happened just so we can live with it. But that's not the same as truth. And you are allowed to stand in what is your truth. But here's where I want to gently turn this. Just because you're not thankful for what happened doesn't mean thankfulness has no place in your life. When approached differently, thankfulness can become a doorway, not into the past, but into the life you are living right now. Because thankfulness is not about rewriting the past. It's about reclaiming the present. And this is where something begins to open. Not because you've changed how you feel about the past, but because your attention begins to rest in what is here, right now. And when that happens, even briefly, you may start to notice something unexpected. There are parts in your life that are not connected to what you went through. Moments where you can breathe a little easier. Moments where your body relaxes even just slightly. Moments where something feels lighter. Or where a small sense of hope begins to show up. These moments may not last long, but they are there. And this is where thankfulness can begin to emerge, not as something you try to feel, but as something that starts to appear when you notice what is already here. And this is where something important becomes clear. What you're experiencing right now is often called gratitude, but the two are not the same. And if they get mixed together, it can leave you feeling like you're doing something wrong. So let me ask you, what if the way you've been taught to think about gratitude isn't what helps you feel okay in your life right now? We hear the word gratitude all the time. Gratitude is often talked about as something we practice, a list we write, a habit we try to build, a way of training ourselves to see what's good. And for some people, that works. But after abuse, it can feel very different. Because when you're still carrying what you've lived through, being told to be grateful can feel like pressure. Like you're supposed to feel something that isn't there. And when you can't feel that sense of gratitude, it can leave you feeling like you're doing it wrong. But what you just experienced a few moments ago wasn't trying to feel grateful. You were noticing something simple, something real. And from that, a quiet thank you can begin to show up. That's the difference. Gratitude is something we try to practice. Thankfulness is what begins to appear when you don't force it. Thankfulness appears when you allow yourself to notice your life as it is right now. For me, thankfulness didn't start with anything big or meaningful. It was small, very small. At the time, I had a personal life coach, and he asked me to start a gratitude practice. The exercise was to write 10 things every day that I was grateful for. And in all honesty, I couldn't come up with one thing. I couldn't come up with one thing that I was grateful for when I started. My mind kept returning to everything I had been through, the lies, the betrayals, the control, the harsh words, and the abuse. I was not grateful for any of it. I felt defeated. I couldn't even do that simple task. Then one morning, I decided to be thankful instead of grateful. And I easily came up with 4 things: air, food, water, and a place to sleep. I wasn't trying to feel grateful for my life. I was noticing what was supporting me in that moment. And slowly, without forcing it, thankfulness began to take root. Not because I changed the past, but because I started to see my present differently. If you sit with those simple things, you may notice your mind trying to pull you right back into the past. It still doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. It means what you lived through is still showing up in your mind and your body. You're not doing it wrong. You are healing. And there is a difference. So instead of asking yourself, what should I be grateful for? Try something different. Ask yourself, what is here right now that is not hurting me? Don't look for 10 things, just one. One is enough. When you notice it, you can simply say, thank you for this. Thankfulness is something that begins to show itself when you feel safe enough to notice your life again. Thankfulness is something that grows when you start to notice your life in a different way. And that takes time. There's no rush, there's no expectation. There is only what is true for you today. I'm going to ask you to close your eyes and place your hands on your heart. As I close today's Wisdom Wednesday, I'd like to offer you this blessing. May you release the pressure to be thankful for what you've been through. May you honor what is true for you without needing to soften it or change it. May you begin to notice what is in your life that is not hurting you. And may you offer a quiet thank you when you notice it. Not because everything is okay, but because something is supporting you right now. May you come to see that you're not doing anything wrong. You are healing. And this is how thankfulness becomes visible again. And that's enough for today.